Hey y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murders Midweek. I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
With me as always.
I'm always with her.
It's true.
I'm like the twin you didn't absorb in the wound.
You're in the wound?
In the womb.
In the womb or the wound?
The womb lands.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I know you're in my heart and soul, Dylan.
Yeah.
So when you're not with me, you're still with me.
It's true. Because I leave my stuff laying everywhere, and it's little. Those are really.
I can't escape you.
I gotta say, those are love reminders that men leave for their wives and their loved ones. Just to maybe take a second and think about me.
Oh, like
With those,
when you trim your beard and like leave the hairs in the
Yeah.
sink. I'm supposed to be like I should find that endearing.
It's my love language.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making messes is your love language?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't categorize. You see, you're taking something that means a lot to me, and you're kind of, I don't know, you're kind of shitting on it.
You're refusing to engage with me because you don't like my word choice.
Yes, that's a very therapeutic way to state what my feelings right now, and it's just like little reminders that hey, I was here and I matter.
There's always something there to remind me.
There's always something there to remind me.
Yeah.
I try to get my dirty drawers up though. Hey, welcome back to the midweek.
Yeah.
Hey.
How you feeling good today? I was gonna say,
you,
how you feeling, Biggie Smalls?
shit, can't call it.
Mansions and Benzes.
It's weird.
Are you giving ends to your friends and you feeling stupendous?
Well, yeah, that is actually happening. It's a very strange energy wavelength we woke up to this morning here in our life. I'm seeing people like from my past just on the sidewalk.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor. I'm going to start calling you Mr. Mayor because you know everybody.
That's not true. That's what's so odd about it is I don't know everybody. I only know literally 10 people or less who really know me in this county. No,
Okay.
it's true. And our friend group is growing, and I love all our new friends. I love them, love them, love them. Some of them are Mountain Murders listeners. Hey, Kim and Jenny, right?
Jen.
Damn it. Hey, Kim and Jen.
And Maddie.
And Maddie. And Maddie's guy. He's cool.
We love Maddie May.
Kim and Jen are awesome. And Maddie's awesome. And Maddie's man's awesome. So anyway, our friend group's growing. That's cool. But I'm seeing people I really knew.
From like 20 years ago?
From a long time ago. I
Well,
thought,
today you bumped into a guy you said lived in your garage.
I did. I know for
Now, was this like an apartment or was this a garage and he lived on like a cot in the corner? I have questions about garage living.
Let's talk about it. And I know for a fact, hey, Jerry, he will never, ever listen to a podcast. You could see Jerry and know he doesn't listen to them. But Jerry was a really
I'm
cool
not even
dude.
sure Jerry owns a smartphone.
Jerry's phone, if he has it, it's not smart because God love him.
It's probably a flip phone.
It is
He
a
looks
flip
like a
phone.
flip phone guy.
Yeah, totally.
And I don't even mean that as an insult because honestly, I would love to have a flip phone.
I'm telling you, bro. I would have one of those bag phones that never drops calls. But then they, people started going back to those at one point because they're so reliable and they pick up
Did I
everywhere.
remember the bag phone?
And the bag phone, man, you'd be like, guess where I'm calling you from? And people like, where? You'd be like, your fucking driveway, bro. And they'd be like, no. And they come out and look and you'd be like, I got the phone.
It was true.
Well, yeah, but then they killed those, stopped servicing that frequency because people were going back to them en masse, which is kind of stupid. Anywho, so yeah, it's people. It wasn't just a raw garage. Okay, so you got to know a little bit. I'll just give you a little snippet about Jerry. He's a veteran. He's disabled.
Jerry, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Jerry, for your service. He's a rather accomplished mechanic, and he just his woman passed away, unfortunately, and he was kind of just floating around, just kind of family friend. My ex, Baltimore, we'll call her. She shall not be named, but she was
Voldemort or Baltimore?
Baltimore. Either one of those. We're not going to mention
Okay.
it. She knew Jerry. That's how I got introduced to Jerry and his family, and they were cool people, good people. But Jerry's kind of down on his luck and stuff, and he needed a place to stay, and was like, we have this garage. It was not a garage apartment, bro.
Okay.
But we just set him up like in the corner, made him like a loft situation. He just had the bed and a chair and everything. And if Jerry's got that and some old school 70s rock going and a cold 12-pack of some like Busch Light, Jerry's happy.
Simple man.
Simple man.
I love people who enjoy simple pleasures in life.
I do. And we helped Jerry get some of his paperwork in order and got all his stuff started where he was self-sufficient and getting the money he deserved. And yeah. And I literally...
What a great story.
Thanks.
Well, he seemed very nice.
He's a really nice guy, and you'd love him. He's a hoot to hang around, and have a couple drinks with and stuff. So I hope I told Jared Bear is what the kids used to call him. I hope Jared Bear comes back, hangs out on the porch with me.
Yeah.
But it was a blast from the past, and that's kind of funny. And people are like, "Move along, Dylan, and move it along. We don't care. We don't care about that."
It's not true, Dylan. I can listen to you talk about nothing all day, and I do. I mean, I'm married to you, so.
So me and Heather
clearly you're entertaining.
We were discussing the military earlier, and it was cute. She was remembering some really cool times she had in the Navy, and I came up. My brain's really firing today.
I see.
Yeah,
you're firing on like all the cylinders.
Yeah,
not just the like 1.5.
Yeah, I came up with a song for a commercial for like the Air Force. Yeah, it just happened while I was in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh. Give me the rundown. I want to hear the song.
You want to hear some?
Yeah.
Let's talk about jets, baby. Let's talk about you and me. We're gonna help our country get the bad guys, get them tea. Let's talk about jets. Let's talk about jets.
We're going to tackle the T. Mean terrorism.
Well, I didn't want to say it.
Right?
I didn't want to get on a list.
I mean, we could.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so do you think that has any legs?
Yeah, I think that you should call like the regional recruiting office or something. Let them know that you have a jingle that the kids are going to love.
Right.
The kids are going to say that this jam
it's the reason they joined.
It busts down.
It slaps.
Yes.
It does bust and slap at the same time.
It busts and yeah, I don't even know what that means, but
it's good.
I think that means it's good.
Now, my only fear is that song is going to cater to people of our age more so than these kids.
Well, but they're on TikTok.
That's
and
right.
They love the retro stuff.
And they'll be like, "Have you heard of this band called Salt and Pepper?" And
we discovered this really cool musical duo with Spinderella. Have you heard of Salt and Pepper?
Oh my gosh, these kids with the TikToks, they'll come to you and be like, "Have you heard?" And be like, "Yeah, I grew up on that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've been listening to that on vinyl since I was in the womb."
Yeah, it was great 30 years ago.
In the womb
I'm
lands.
glad you've discovered it.
Do you know that woman, that song on...
Can we just talk about real quick, because I know we were on such a tangent.
No, let's just talk.
But you know what, Dylan? A lot of folks are like, oh, gatekeeping is a dick move. I'm all for gatekeeping. If you don't know the band, why the fuck are you wearing the shirt? If you can't name the 3 songs, because, there's like a lot of... I'm not even on TikTok anymore, really, but there were all those videos of kids who'd be like, my principal asked me to name 3 songs from this Motley Crue album, and I don't know it, but I just thought that was really jerk move because I liked the shirt.
Listen, why
because
did you
my
like the
daughter
shirt?
had a teacher who asked her to name her 3 Green Day songs or whatever.
She named them.
Yeah, and Bella was like, "Well, of course I can name them."
That's because we jam it.
Because we love Green Day.
Basket Case is one of my go-tos on karaoke.
The Dookie album, man, that like made my 14-year-old life back in the day.
Do you have the time? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but so here's the thing. When we were growing up...
When masturbation's lost its fun, if I can mind.
Stop.
Why? I don't sound like Billy Joel. What's his face? Billy Joel.
You don't sound like Billy anybody right there.
I think I do.
Okay.
Whatever.
So, no.
Whatever. I'm going to join a Green Day cover band, and you're going to be jealous.
Oh, okay. So, when we were growing up, if you had a band T-shirt on, number one, you probably went to a concert and got it because there just wasn't band tees in all the shops, right? And number two, you were a fan. You were a big fan.
Yeah.
You didn't just wear a band T-shirt unless you dig the band and knew the band and loved it.
I was not walking around in a New Kids on the Block T-shirt. I can tell you that.
Shit, I wish. Oh, oh, oh.
Okay. We are on such a tangent right now.
Let's just do it. Let's be like up.
I had the coolest shirt when I was a freshman in high school, and I had it for a couple of years, and then I don't know what happened to it, and it's very disappointing because I wish I had the shirt now. It was a Beastie Boys T-shirt, and it was one of those ringer tees. So it had like the blue ringer, the little white T-shirt with the blue ringer collar and the little, around the sleeves.
Oh, that sounds like a baseball shirt, the way I'd describe that.
Well, I think they're called a ringer tee, but yes,
of course.
Whatevs. And it had Spicoli's van from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh my gosh!
On it, but it was a Beastie Boys T-shirt, and on the back it said "Aloha, Mr. Hand."
Oh, dude.
Yes.
Bro, if you had this in any kind of decent condition, this is a $300 tee.
Dude, it was so badass.
Oh, my gosh.
And I wish I still had that shirt.
I wish you still had that shirt, too.
It was very cool.
I didn't even know that shirt existed till just now.
I had a blind melon with the little bee girl on it.
Blind melon.
Yeah. But
Okay.
but now these kids will go buy, you know.
Well, they're at the graphic
little,
tee shop,
their little
bro.
AC/DC shirt, and they don't know anything about
And look,
AC/DC.
since we're just kind of ranting and venting a little bit, I want to know what the hell Hot Topic's problem is. Because you claim to be this kind of subversive, anime, cool, whatever shop, and you don't have fat sizes in there, okay? And I hate to tell you what, but there's plenty of big boys and girls who are into anime and video games and stuff.
Dylan just wants to go buy a horror tee.
I just want a 3X, guys. No.
They don't want you to have a 3X.
They don't want me to have to order online. Then I don't even get to touch, smell, and see it. And I don't like to buy things like that.
You want to touch it?
I want to taste it.
You want to hold it up to you?
Yeah,
I remember one time my little boy, and he was probably like 6. He was so cute. Well, he loved to shop. He still does. He's a little consumer. And he would hold up a shirt, and he would like hold it up to him, and he'd go, "If I put this here, it's closer to me." And I would be
Nice.
like, "That is great logic, Zane."
That's a good point, Zane.
Absolutely.
God love them.
So if Dylan puts the shirt here, it's closer to him.
I'm going to start doing that
You
because that
should.
makes total sense.
You should.
And if I put it in my pocket,
Dylan,
we're leaving
today, okay, we have Mother's Day holiday coming up. Are
Uh,
you prepared for Mother's Day?
with it. Yeah.
You have.
When
bought-
does that come
I
up?
was like, you have bought no gifts.
When is that?
Well, it's in the month of May.
Okay. Well, I ain't going to buy the gift all last year and shit.
I think it's in about 2 weeks.
Just keep me posted on that.
So I thought we have Mother's Day coming up. Why not honor the moms out there, right? Let's have a Killer Moms episode. Let's talk
do it.
about some of the killer moms in the world. Are you ready, Dylan?
Yes, I just tapped your gain button.
I know, baby.
Your audio changed.
I heard.
I'm sorry, but I like it when you're deep and rich.
Can we talk about killer moms?
Let's go. I'm ready now.
Okay. 39-year-old Megan Huntsman of Pleasant Grove, Utah, confessed to fatally strangling and suffocating 6 of her newborn babies from 1996 to 2006.
Jesus.
Acting on a tip from her estranged husband, police searched her home in April of 2014 and found 7 dead infants.
She kept them?
6 of them stuffed into cardboard boxes. The 7th infant had reportedly been stillborn. A search of court records revealed that apart from a 2011 traffic citation, she had no criminal record.
Now, did you say all the infants were stillborn?
No, one of them was.
One of the 7 was stillborn.
Yes.
But she murdered
All 7 babies.
all 7 babies. Well, all 6 of the 7. And then one
Wow.
was born expired.
Yes, Dylan.
I'm sorry. She's got definitely has mental issues. I think there's no way around that. Would you agree?
Absolutely. So the technical term for when a mother kills her child is called maternal fillicide. And Dylan, how many mothers, give me an estimation of how many mothers you think kill their children every year in the United States?
And a percentage?
Just a number.
I'm going to say 500.
It's like 200.
Ah, shit.
So not that many.
Okay.
I mean, wow. That's a lot of moms.
But that's every year.
Exactly. So a lot of mothers who deliberately kill their children are often found not guilty of murder by reason of insanity.
Yep. See, that does not surprise me at all because you know what? The jury, how do you say it properly? Jury?
Well,
Like
I say
jewelry?
jury, but
Jury. The jury, the people on the jury, their brains just can't process that. They can't wrap their head around you. In their mind, you have to be crazy or mentally unstable or have some significant mental thing going on to kill your child. They just can't wrap their head around it.
well, there was actually a doctor, Philip Resnick, who conducted a study back in the 60s, the late 60s. And he found when mothers kill their kids, about 68% are sent to mental hospitals and only about 27% are sent to prison. But when fathers kill their children, more than 70% go to prison and only about 14% are hospitalized.
Wow. I've never even thought to take a look at that. But honestly, I think you do have to be mentally unhinged to do this because it goes against every fiber in your body. It's telling you to protect, nourish, grow this being, your child, which that's just nature, right? Evolution. So you literally have to go against all that to do this. But that's very interesting. And that does that surprise you? That doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't surprise me either because I do feel like there is a discrepancy in how men and women are sentenced criminally in this country.
I also think there's a discrepancy in, you see it all the time in custody and stuff. It's gotten a little bit more even, but the father compared to the child, what am I trying to say? The father's love for the child or whatever seems to always be kind of like a mother's love. The mother's relationship with the child seems to be a bigger deal. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Or people view it as still like, well, the dad. You've heard about absent fathers for a long, long, long time, right? And mothers do it too. Sometimes mothers take off and leave the kids, but it's a lot less of a percentage. Does that make sense? I think the child typically stays with the mother.
Right. And we could get into, there's a lot of, I guess, sociological
we could study
issues
this.
that go along with this because I have a problem with, and here we are getting on another tangent, how single moms are vilified in this country. And like girls that grow up without a dad, it's like, oh, she's got daddy issues.
Yeah.
And oh, here's the single mom, right?
It's true.
But nobody ever points out, well, yeah, but there was a dad who abandoned this girl.
Right.
So why are we not talking about what a piece of shit he is?
He
If
has
she
daughter
has
issues.
daddy issues, that's not her fault, right? I mean, she's the one that was abandoned. We don't ever talk about him. We talk about the single mom, but we don't ever speak about the man who left her to be the single mom or that's not involved. We're always finding ways to vilify the women in these scenarios. And I'm probably pissing some people off, but it's true.
No, but I will say, I do think there's something to be said for the male affection to the daughter. And if they're missing that, it does affect a woman. I think that's totally true.
Well, I think children honestly need
both parents. They get
really
something.
do.
Yes, because boys need their dad as well, but it's different. I watched this with my sister. Like, my dad was just gone. And briefly, a time or two, we were around him. Even as a kid, we could be like, wow, that guy's not good. God rest his soul, I guess. Ricky Felix. I'm sure he's somewhere in the energy stream, probably like being an asshole with his fingers
clogging
up.
up energy stream traffic.
This guy literally, there was a description by a train conductor. He was passed out on train tracks, and he sat up and flipped the train off as the cow catcher launched him off the track. It didn't kill him.
Is this a true story?
This is a true story.
About your dad?
Yes. Ricky Felix passed out, totally bumming, train yards, walking the tracks, all that shit. And he was passed out on the train tracks, and the train hit him. And the last thing the conductor saw was him sit up and flip him off. And then the cow catcher blasted his ass, which is the big pointed thing on the front. I don't know if that's the proper term. And launched him off the track and fucked him up, but it didn't kill him.
I was going to say, and he didn't die?
No. And that's a mean little son of a bitch, I tell you. I mean, who does that?
It's always like the mean ones that
can get hit by a train and not killed.
Yes.
Right.
Because like my mom, here we are again.
No, this is the episode.
My mother's stepdad, his name was Richard. It's like my aunt's father. And he was an alcoholic and a drug addict and like a really not good guy. Like, probably one of the reasons why my mom was such a fucked up person and so horrible is because she had this horrible childhood with this guy. Was a lineman and like got his guts blown out by electricity. Was like electrocuted.
Jesus.
And managed to survive it. And didn't kill him. And everybody was like, what the fuck? And it's like, you can't. And my mom was like, well, you can't kill the devil. That's what they always used to say about him.
Mean people don't die. A lot of times.
Well, Billy Joel said, only the good die young.
He did say that.
Well, in 1997, Dylan, the U.S. Department of Justice conducted a study that found that children under the ages of 8 are more likely to be killed by their mothers, while children over the ages of 8 are likelier to be killed by fathers.
Okay.
And it seems that sons are more likely to be killed than daughters.
Period?
Yes.
Now, can we dissect that for a moment? What do you think about that? I have an idea.
What is your idea?
For the woman, and a lot of times we see this in these cases when the women kill their own children, they are overwhelmed. They are Andrea Yates comes to mind.
Oh, yeah.
I felt nothing but
Sympathy
and sadness for her. And it really was. She was crying out for help. Every pregnancy got the postpartum severely. It's getting worse and worse. Her, husband's working all the time, blah, blah, blah. And she just really seemed to be crying out for help before she did that tragic thing. And I think, 4 or 5 children, she drowned them all. I couldn't imagine. And she certainly had mental issues. But I think oftentimes the women are overwhelmed, have stuff going on. They're not getting the help they need.
Postpartum depression is no joke. And it seems to be something that maybe people take more seriously nowadays. But I feel like in the past, it was something that people just sort of blew it off. They didn't take it very seriously. And there was not a lot of help and support for women.
It's true.
For mothers.
It's true. And I still don't.
For birthing people.
I think the medical profession or professionals take it a lot more seriously nowadays. But I still think society in general kind of scoffs at it. I think they still do.
And I know there are some celebrities who've come out and kind of openly discuss that they've had postpartum depression and how severe it was. I know the actress Hayden Panettiere. She was on that show Heroes years ago.
Okay.
She doesn't have custody of her daughter. Her daughter lives, I believe, in the Ukraine with her father, who is a MMA fighter or something. I could be wrong. But Hayden Panettiere has been very open about discussing her postpartum depression.
And that's when she lost custody and
why. It was a major issue for her. So, I think being able to openly discuss it, destigmatize it is very important.
I agree. We can start right here on Mountain Murders. This can be where it starts, Heather.
Okay, Dylan. So one of the most horrific cases of maternal fillicide that I have come across is China Arnold of Dayton, Ohio. In 2005, China and her children lived with her boyfriend, a guy named Terrell Talley, in a housing complex. And they ended up having an argument over her daughter Paris's paternity. So they get into this fight, and her anger turned into violence. China placed her 28-day-old baby, a little daughter named Paris, in the microwave.
Oh, Jesus.
For 2 minutes.
Oh, God. No.
She then removed the baby and put her on the table. Now, this baby died within just a few seconds due to the heat.
Yeah.
And medical experts said the baby died after the temperature reached 107 to 108. So she didn't have any external burns, but she suffered these high heat internal injuries.
Yeah, because that's how a microwave works. It starts from the inside out. Jesus Christ. Maybe you should have had a trigger warning on that. That's that's rough. Sorry about that, folks. And I'm sure Heather's just trying to, I can't. That's almost fucked me up. It's a tough story. I don't even want to pick. Okay, so continue.
Arnold told investigators that she was intoxicated. And she was intoxicated to the point of blacking out when the child died, according to her attorney.
Okay.
But she was arrested. They released her on a lack of evidence. Then she was rearrested in November of 2006, more than a year after this child's death. While she was awaiting trial, she became sexually involved with her cellmate, a woman named Linda Williams, who later testified that China Arnold confessed her guilt while they are, lovers in prison.
Yeah, while they
in
were
jail.
Working on stuff together.
Now, shortly after the trial began in February of 2008, Talley said his son told him that he pulled the baby out of the microwave after a neighbor's son had put her inside. And the judge declared a mistrial. But then they had a second trial where Paris's mother, China, testified that she is the one who did this. So she was convicted of aggravated murder and sentenced to life in prison. She is incarcerated at the Dayton Correctional Institute.
Okay, now in this case, I think this is exactly what you were talking about earlier. Do you think she should be in prison for life, or do you think she should be routed to a mental health facility and get that kind of help.
No, I think she should be in prison.
Okay. But I mean, that can't, that's not normal. That's very far from it.
Well, no, it's not normal.
Well, I guess it's not normal to murder anyone. So, or is it? Right? Or is in our structured, quote unquote, civilized society, maybe like killing each other is our inherent nature. And we're actually fighting against that to live in this sociological soup we call society. Wow, shit, dude. It's getting deep here on Mountain Murders. Get your boots on.
Are you ready to discuss our next killer, Mom?
I'm looking at China Arnold, and she looks evil.
Yeah.
So I think you made a good call.
We're going to talk about Kenisha Berry from Texas. So early one morning in July of 1998, a couple, Ray and Ina Black, were prowling trash cans, like the dumpsters at this apartment complex where they lived. And I'm not really sure what they were doing there. But Ray found a bag in one of the dumpsters, and as he removed it and opened it up, he discovered the body of an infant child. The child's mouth was covered in duct tape, and its arms were taped to the chest, and the baby was covered in fecal matter.
Jesus. Now, they may have been dumpster diving. A lot of people do this. You find a lot of usable stuff.
I mean, I'm not sure.
Right.
Because it says they were combing through the garbage. So I'm not really sure, like, they were dumpster diving. I'm not sure what was happening.
And made a horrific discovery that would be traumatizing.
So absolutely shocked, the husband and wife immediately call authorities. There was an autopsy performed by a Dr. Tommy Brown, the medical examiner, and he determined that the baby boy had twice been fed and that the cause of death was asphyxiation. While still alive, the baby had been duct taped, tossed into the trash bag, and into the dumpster where he passed away.
No, we find this person.
So without any leads, the police couldn't identify the baby or its mother, and so authorities named the baby Hope. And eventually the case went cold. Now, in 2003, a man hiking in the woods found an infant in a ditch, and the baby was covered in ants but still alive. So he called 911, and the baby survived, but it did need a blood transfusion because it had an infection due to these severe ant bites. And ant bites are no joke.
Oh my, this poor little thing.
It's terrible.
This little helpless baby couldn't get away from the ants. Man, I remember when them damn pince ants got on me at that graveyard. That was painful.
Those are fire ants, right?
Oh no, this was
Or
just
were
the
they
little
just
teeny
regular?
tiny ones.
Oh,
The
okay.
little piss ant, which I didn't even know would bite you like that.
Oh, I thought they were fire ants.
And they lit me up. It might have been baby. I don't know. I don't know ant spurt. But
so clever.
I could only imagine. That was pretty good. That was punny, right? With a P. It never stops. But I could only imagine if I was, say, tied there. Because when you hear about these tortures where you're tied, that's very often been used over the years. Tie someone to an anthill or a termite hill and just like leave them there and helpless and let them be bit over and over. This poor little thing. So the baby survived.
Yeah, so news of this baby found in a ditch, of course, made the news. And pretty quickly, phone lines were flooding with calls reporting that a Beaumont woman named Kenisha Berry was the mother of this abandoned baby.
How do you spell her last name?
Berry, like strawberry.
That's what I thought.
Now, Kenisha was a 25-year-old daycare worker, and she was really well liked in the community. She had dropped out of high school, but she did earn a GED. She had worked at a local prison as a guard before she started working at the daycare. She didn't last very long as a prison guard because she kept calling out of work. On June 12th of 2003, Kenisha walked into the Beaumont Police Department where she admitted to officers that she was the mother of the baby found in the ditch. So the similarities between the two cases caught the attention of police officers in Beaumont. So when Berry walked into the station admitting she was the mother of this baby abandoned in the ditch, they were curious if she knew anything about baby Hope, the child who had been found 5 years earlier in the dumpster.
Wow.
DNA evidence proved that Kenisha was the mother of baby Hope. And they also learned the boy's name. It was Malachi. She had murdered the baby 4 days after giving birth. She revealed that she had never told anyone about the pregnancy, and she delivered both infants at home. A third child, a boy, was also delivered at home, but she kept that child. And Kenisha was also the mother of 3 older children. This baby was also named Paris, and she and the other 3 older children were all eventually adopted by a great aunt and her husband.
She renamed a kid the same name.
Well, this is a different.
Oh yeah, it is different. Wow, Paris is a pretty name. What I was thinking earlier when you said that.
So Paris and the other 3 children were all adopted by a great aunt and her husband. And Kenisha was convicted of capital murder and abandoning a child. She was given a death sentence, but that was overturned in 2007. So she is now incarcerated at the Christina Melton Crane Unit in Texas and is eligible for parole on February 18th of 2044.
So, so she's carrying these babies to full term and birthing them. There are a lot. Is it me, or is there are a lot of organizations and places you could turn to for help in this situation, right? Adoption. I mean, you can legally,
well, now they have
safely. Well, I don't know how many years ago this was. You can just turn your baby over to the fire department.
Well, I was going to say now you are
the baby boxes.
Yeah, able to surrender the children.
But even then, there's people that would help, right? I mean, you're not stuck, but I think it was just the hiding the pregnancy, and then the baby's here. You can't hide that anymore. Everybody notices the baby, and that, I think that was why she went this far, because she's hidden the pregnancy. She's not told anyone. She's not told the father of the baby that she's pregnant, and I think that was it. Just get rid of it. Because I don't want to admit that there's a pregnancy.
I have always been intrigued. I know that's the dog snoring.
Roofy's snoring.
Oh, he's snoring like he's sawing logs over there, bro. I've always been intrigued by these women who are able to cover their pregnancies.
Yeah.
Because there was no way.
Well, they're typically bigger girls.
That I could have. No, I've seen like little. Petite.
No way. How do you do that?
I don't know, but they are able to do it. And there is no way, because I was so big. I was all belly both times. And I could not have, there would be no way to cover it. Like even with baggy clothes. Because I was like ginormous.
It's just baggy clothes over your big pregnant stomach.
Yeah. So I don't know how some women can hide a pregnancy and conceal it for 9 months.
Well, I think, women carry them differently. Some women carry.
That's true.
The women that carried a baby up high, it's quite different. They don't have that. I'm no pregnancy expert either. Okay, along with the ants, but I've been around a pregnant one or two, right?
Yeah, but you like you're like a early Kyler. You're like, getting girls pregnant feels good.
Yeah, me and Crystal and the snake. Woo! Is that what Early says? Getting girls pregnant feels good?
Yeah, there's like a quote of Early Kyler saying, he's telling his son Rusty, he's like, getting girls pregnant feels good.
She's talking about Squidbillies, folks. If you haven't seen it, check it out, please. And smoke some marijuana and watch it. It's hilarious. But yeah, when a woman carries the baby up high, some women just carry male or female. Or as far as the baby's gender, they carry it high. It's quite different. You don't have that, super. But when you carry it low, obviously, you get that big old, fully this big. I love it. I'll get you pregnant. I'm getting you pregnant right now.
I don't consent.
You don't consent?
Like, I'm too old for that shit. I'm too old and tired.
We've been like, what would you get together with someone, and I think it's how you get that. In
the early days of our marriage,
5 years ago,
oh,
right?
A baby would be so cute.
What would our baby look like? We both have children.
We're older. Like, wouldn't it be cool to have a baby together?
Yeah.
Maybe we could not fuck this one up.
We would try.
Maybe we could try to make this one like intelligent, and it could be like the one successful child. Like, we could hang all of our hopes and dreams on this child.
Yeah, or we could travel.
Yeah,
and buy nice things. So that's the pendulum there.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I'll be honest. I enjoy that our kids are older. I like having grown kids.
I think it's the way
grown kids.
I
like it. I'm ready to start that chapter with you where we have an empty nest.
I think it's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, it is.
And people's like, oh, they got empty nests, and some people are they really love, doing for the kids and stuff, and that's great. I do too. But
Yeah, I mean, I love my daughter, and we spend tons of time together.
I love to watch her
I
leave.
hang
I
out
mean,
with
it's
her,
awesome.
and yeah.
I'm just kidding, but I'm not. The empty nest doesn't scare me. You know what I mean? Because it really is. I think this comes from being younger parents. You I think that's the difference, really, honestly. The people that wait and are way more responsible than I ever was and get the house and the career going, school, college, all that done out of the way.
Do it, quote unquote, the right way.
The right way, as they say. And then they,
when you have a little bit of financial security.
Yeah.
And
you have your first one at 32, 3, blah, blah, blah. But and I think when you have children younger, you miss some of your young years. You're being a parent.
Well, you did.
It's quite different. And if you even try to do the right thing, and then you're kind of ready.
You were a dad at 19?
Yeah.
Or 20?
Right.
It's really young.
It's pretty young.
I think it's really young.
It's really young.
Like, I didn't have Bella till I was 25. So at least I had, like, my early 20s was like, I was able to kind of experience, like, going and doing things and doing my own thing. Yeah.
Right. And for that reason, I think that is the right way. You should live your youth. Don't get, you don't have to be clogged up with relationships. You're still young. You're trying to find yourself. You don't have to stay at the same job. And, you get to try new things and see what really fits for you. Or you can get Baltimore pregnant.
Baltimore?
Don't
get Baltimore pregnant.
Fucking bitch.
Don't get Baltimore pregnant.
Just anyway, let's move on. Fucking bitch.
Don't get the Inner Harbor pregnant in Baltimore.
Oh, God. A very unreasonable person. Anyway, I love my kids.
No, she is one of the most unstable, psychotic people I've ever encountered in my whole life. I have a short list, and she's on the short list. I will say that.
Well, she's doing better now, and I just wish her the best of luck.
Special person.
I do. I wish her the best of luck.
I wish she would drive off a cliff. Anywho, well, I mean, just because.
Just her in an empty car.
She did make my life a living hell.
I wish it would be just a
Moving
single
along,
vehicle wreck.
Dylan, we have the disturbing case of Susan Eubanks in California. Now, on October 26th of 1999, Susan of San Marcos, California, took the lives of her 4 sons. The boys ranged in age from 4 to 14, and they were all shot execution style in the head.
Oh, wow.
She then turned the gun on herself, shot herself in the stomach. According to her defense lawyers, she shot herself as a result of an attempted suicide. And there was one other person in the home at the time of the killings, and that was her 5-year-old nephew, who was found unharmed.
What was her name?
Susan Eubanks.
I got to say, the difference here is the shooting the children execution style. That's very rare. It's typically a poisoning, a drowning in the bathtub, sadly. Susan Smith literally watched her children roll into...
That woman is a fucking monster.
Oh, how could you? Seeing the little hands and stuff and their little faces as their car's sinking.
We've covered Susan Smith previously, so if you want to go back into the archives, you will be able to find the Susan Smith case.
And we were glad then, and we're glad now that somebody whooped her ass in prison.
I want somebody to whoop her ass every day of her life.
I gotta say, children killers, their own children killers.
Somebody needs to whoop that trick.
I think these women have a hard time in jail with other women, the same way a rapist and child molester has a hard time with the males, because the women there all, just like the men, all have women and children they're missing and can't protect. The women there have children they're missing and they can't protect. And I think they do not look kindly on women that kill their own children.
Well, and people should not look kindly on child killers.
It goes against everything in a human's fiber and being.
That's just, in my opinion, one of the worst things you can do is harm a child.
I think they're the most vulnerable of our population.
Well, children and elderly folks.
I think elderly are very close second.
Because people who kill elderly people are scumbags.
Men who brutally beat and rape like an 80-some-year-old lady, I would have absolutely no problem taking them out. None. Absolutely none. I would enjoy it.
Well, there's a shitbird who did that lives down the street.
Yeah, I know.
Every time I see him, I want to like hit him with my car, but I don't. So after spending the day drinking with her boyfriend and taking Valium, they began to fight. And once she got home, she slashed 2 tires on his car and refused to let him in the house. He called the police. They escort him into the home where he was able to remove some belongings and leave. So according to her defense team, this was like the catalyst of the killings. They claim that she lost control of her mind and body at that time. And after warning one of the boys' fathers about her diminished mental state, the boyfriend had told the father that she had talked about killing herself and the boys. The father then called police, and he asked the sheriff's department if they would please go check on the children. When the deputies arrive at the home, they hear crying, and they found the 3 older boys dead from gunshot wounds to the head. The youngest was not dead yet, so the ambulance was called to the scene. The 4-year-old boy was still alive, and he was rushed by ambulance to the hospital where he would later pass away from his injuries. Then they found the 5th child, her nephew, unharmed. They also found Susan sobbing and suffering from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. They sent her to the hospital, and after 5 days of hospitalization, she was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder.
Well, I mean, obviously something was wrong with her to do this. And it's kind of interesting. She was still able to discern that my nephew's here and he's not my child, and like left him alone. I find that interesting. To say that she was in some, blackout fugue state, I don't think he would have been safe. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, what was her? Andrea what?
It's Susan Eubanks.
Susan Eubanks. I'm sorry.
Attorneys that were prosecuting the case theorized that she killed her sons as a result of rage, and that the rage was anger she felt towards the fathers of her children and her boyfriend, all of whom had chosen to leave her. It was claimed that she felt desire to seek revenge for the failure of these relationships, and that she wanted the fathers to also know the pain of losing something that they loved.
See, that's why, wow. That's why I think this was purely intentional, and I think it was purely to get back at the fathers, and I'm going to hurt them, and honestly, I think you should pay with your life for that.
Yeah, she's not someone that I have any sympathy for.
But we don't know her whole story. She could have been reaching out if there's truth to that. She's made these statements, and no one acted or was able to act properly.
Well, I think it was worded strangely, but I believe it was in a matter of a short period that she was making these. Like, she said this to the boyfriend. He calls the child's father. The child's father calls police.
Oh.
They go to the house. The children
It's
have
too late.
Yeah. I mean, this was not something that happened over a period of time.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, are you listening to me at all?
I am trying. My brain's thinking about like 12 mother-child killers right now. I'm trying to stay on task. But she looks she looks mean. But I guess I'm looking at, mugshots of these women typically, and they just had murdered their children, so I guess you're not going to be looking that great, right?
Well, no. Plus, she shot herself and was in the hospital for 5 days, so I'm sure that she probably wasn't looking her best, Dylan.
I don't know how that would be such a tough situation to deal with. Your child's been killed. Not only that, which is horrible, it's by their own mother, a person you had some type of relationship with, right? And I just don't know how you process that.
Let's talk next, and then we will wrap things up, Dylan, about a woman named Christina Miracle, which has a bit of an ominous ring to it, right?
Yeah.
She lived in Miami Township, Ohio, and she killed her 6-year-old son in what has been described as a bizarre religious ceremony. She allegedly thought she was resurrecting her dead brother while baptizing her child.
What?
The child was apparently beaten before being suffocated to death.
Okay, that has like Lori Vallow tints to it for me, bud.
Yeah. Well, he was then found in the parking lot of an apartment complex where he lived with his mom. 25-year-old Christina was indicted by a grand jury on a felony charge of child endangering, and she pleaded innocent by reason of insanity. She's in a psychiatric hospital being evaluated before the trial. I mean, it's a pretty crazy story.
Well, she certainly was mentally unstable. I mean, come on. What is she even talking about?
Well, I don't know. I mean, is that all you have to say about it?
Well, all the pictures that come up of her were happy pictures with her son. So I'm just like, well, yeah. I mean, you really thought smothering your child was going to resurrect your dead brother? I mean, what is this?
It does have major Lori Vallow vibes. Which, by the way, I listened to a podcast recently about Lori Vallow, her life.
Did you learn a bunch of new stuff?
Involved with Chad Daybell.
Yeah,
I did.
I want to hear it. I want to listen to it. So I'll get the title from you.
I did learn a lot of interesting things that I didn't fully know as far as she goes. She's something else.
So it's funny you're talking about killer mom. Are you done with her?
I'm done.
It's funny you're talking about killer moms because Lori did pop back up in the news recently. There's the trial's ongoing, and there's a bunch of details coming out. And Lori at one point couldn't stand it anymore. Wanted to leave the courtroom when they were showing basically crime scene photos of the recovery of her children's body. And here's some new details about her poor daughter. The body of Lori Vallow's 16-year-old daughter had been gnawed by animals, hacked with a tool before being severely burned. And the remains obviously discovered in an Idaho backyard. And there she's being called the Doomsday Cult Mom, which I think is a fitting name. And so, yeah, I mean, you tortured your daughter and then sacrificed her so she wouldn't become a spiritual zombie.
I just don't understand how people can get caught up in religious, I guess it's religious cults, religious mania. And I know we've discussed this before, and people are like, when I've said I just don't think I could fall prey to this kind of thing, and they're like, and that upsets people because they're like, you don't know what it's like, and you don't know, and everybody's susceptible. But one, I'm just very antisocial, and if people are overly nice to me, I automatically assume like there's some
agenda.
Yeah.
So even if they're being genuinely nice, I've seen this happen many a time.
I'm always just like,
I'm wired the same way because we probably could have
I'm
made
just skeptical,
like 100 sets of friends, but we just don't because we're like, yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but they're like trying to find out about me and stuff, and they're being so nice.
People want to like be my besties all of a sudden.
Now, when we say we wouldn't fall for that, we're not being mean and we're not disparaging people who have been victims or known people in their family that are victims. We're not, because we get that these are predatory, narcissistic monsters. I mean, they truly, cult leaders are horrible.
They're preying on your faith. They're preying on your beliefs. And like, I get that. And maybe that's another reason that I'm like, nah, because we're
non-religious.
We're not religious people.
Nope.
But just Lori Vallow, listening to Chad Daybell's podcast and then sort of like becoming obsessed with him and like wanting to join him. I guess I just don't, like, it is the furthest thing from my mind to understand how you go from this A to Z, right?
And here's
I mean, that's what I'm just like blown away by this whole case of Lori Vallow, because I just can't wrap my head around it at all. And any religious leader that's going to tell you have to murder your children.
No.
I mean, I just don't know how you can be so invested or brainwashed to think that's legit.
And I know how brainwashing works. It starts out with love bombs, everything's cool, and it slowly turns into this nightmare scenario. I get that. But here's another reason.
See, immediately, if anybody starts love bombing me, that's when I'm like, I got to get away from this person.
Well, it's because you were raised by a narcissist who used love bombs as a weapon.
Oh, no, absolutely.
But here's our thing. We're both trauma survivors. We're kind of wired similar.
Yes.
I think we both have ADHD, ADD.
Oh, we are, yeah.
But see, when you are, and I know all my trauma survivors, we should start like a crew and get like T-shirts.
We could go on a cruise.
Yeah, Karen's in my crew.
Like we got fucked up as kids, and
Yeah.
all we got was this lousy T-shirt.
Karen gets a trauma survivor shirt. I love you, Karen. But our bullshit meter is the best in the world. I can read a room. I can feel the energy when I walk into it. I can meet someone, and in 5 minutes,
I'm like, I gotta get the fuck away from this person.
in 5
I
minutes,
know people.
I know whether or not they're a good person if I could truly like connect with them and be a real friend. And it never changed. 1 out of 1,000, it might have been wrong, but it never changes. So our bullshit meters are the best in the world. We read energy. I mean, I do. I know you do. I've talked to other trauma survivors. Our brains have been forced to develop into a way that it's the antithesis to cult.
It's like survival mode.
It's the antithesis to what the cult people need you to be. We're the opposite on all the way across the board. And that's why me and Heather's reactions like, yeah, I don't think so. But that, and that does get a strong reaction from people. But we're not saying you're stupid or anything like that because it happened. We're actually saying, I'm glad that you had a trauma-free life up to this point and you didn't catch this guy's bullshit or girl.
Well, no, I mean, I think there are probably folks who have childhood trauma that get sucked into these things too because they're they're seeking approval.
That's
they're seeking comfort, security, love. They're looking for a family unit. I mean,
that's true.
I think what you're saying is not 100% accurate.
They're disenfranchised.
But I just know myself well enough, and I think I know you well enough too, to say that I think we're people who... I don't think we could get sucked into this, and people might disagree with us, but like with Lori Vallow, some of these stories are just so hard for me to wrap my head around. Like the Nexium cult. If somebody invited me to go to like some women's empowerment group, that's like the last thing in the world that I want to do.
Well, it's just like these men's rights groups and pages.
I'm like, I don't want to.
I'm like, really, dude?
I would never pay money to go to like a women's empowerment seminar. I don't want to go listen to a speaker. Like, that's just not something I would do ever.
The package is only $5,500 for a week, Heather. Why aren't you doing it?
I don't want to go die in a sweat lodge in the Arizona desert for some spiritual retreat where they lock me in there and I sweat to death and die. Like, that's not interesting. I don't want to do that. I'm never going to do that. I'm very headstrong. You're never going to force me to do it. You're never going to order me to do it because I'm going to do the exact opposite of what you tell me. So
your oppositional defiance.
Yeah. So for all these reasons, I'm like, no, none of that is going to work for me.
I get it. And you're right. You're right. There's plenty of trauma. I didn't mean to.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
No, but there's plenty of people that's dealt, but it's different.
So I don't know. For me, and maybe a lot of folks out there, it's just so far-fetched or just the last thing in the world that we can understand with Lori Vallow. I mean, I just don't even know how you get sucked in to something like that.
Here's a couple more details, and I'll warn you, it's grisly. Tylee's pelvis area had also suffered several sharp traumas that were inflicted by a tool that likely had a point or a bevel. This puts me in the mind of a round point shovel.
Okay.
Some of those sharp trauma puncture marks went all the way through the bone, the forensic expert testified, adding that a number of the bones also appeared to have been bent around the time of death. Grisly photos of Tylee's skeletal remains were shown to the jury but withheld from others in the courtroom as Vallow and her husband are accused of murdering Tylee and her 7-year-old brother JJ after they vanished in Idaho in September 2019, and their remains were discovered buried in a shallow grave in Daybell's backyard. Why do we even have to have a trial on this one? For real, folks. And the cause of death was ruled a homicide by unspecified means. I've never heard that turn of phrase on a cause of death. Have you? Because the remains were so badly burned and decomposed by the time they were found. And Lori looks like a fucking bitch. And I hate her. And I wish Chad and her had killed themselves first. I wish that had been God's plan for them. And these kids would be somewhere safe.
She was very focused on her appearance.
It didn't work.
And her I guess growing up, her mom was very focused on her being thin and wanting her to be thin and pretty.
Image conscious.
And just like really instilled these ideas in Lori.
Okay.
She just seems really vapid to me.
Totally.
Like she's pretty and has gotten by on like being pretty, so she's never had to be anything else. She doesn't seem particularly bright to me.
No.
I don't know. And maybe I'm wrong, but this is just what I gather from her, is that she's just a very pretty, vapid person who's never had to be taken seriously and was just able to squeak by in life because she was cute. And then she's just dumb as a rock.
Give us a couple of lines there, Lori. How do you feel about the trial so far?
I'm really bored. There's a lot of zombies at the trial.
A lot of spiritual zombies are at the trial.
The judge is a zombie.
I see. So if you and Chad had your way right now and could do something about the zombie judge, would you take matters into your own hands?
Zombie, zombie, zombie.
You stop doing that to the Cranberries right now, Lori. But I do believe, I bet you like that song.
I love that song.
Because you want to stop.
I like to spin in a field of wildflowers and let my hair blow in the breeze because I'm Lori Vallow.
You want to get all the spiritual zombies in the head, right?
Yeah, her little pipsqueak voice, like it
tickles your throat.
It gives me some rage.
All right, so this has been a ranty, venti, whatever episode, but I've enjoyed it.
This is a loosey-goosey episode, bro.
Yeah,
we're relaxed.
We're relaxed, and we just want to talk to our peeps for a minute.
We're unmedicated.
We're sober.
That is why my brain is all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm unfocused.
It's true.
Right? I'm all the things.
And we hope you guys and gals did not mind this episode and found a little bit of humor.
Oh, I'm sure if they mind, they will let us know. Someone will leave us a bad review and be like, that episode, how dare you? If they didn't like it.
1 star.
People will let you know when they don't like something.
By the way, I've been listening to you all this time, and I never gave you a 5 star, but there's not 1 star. And I'm going to tell you why. No, but we love everybody out there. Keep tuning in.
Even the 1 stars. You old hateful, grouchy, ornery son of a bitch. I'm going to hug you with my voice.
Look here, you son of a bitch. You just keep listening and hating me. Just keep downloading that app.
Yeah. Tune in next week because you'll hear something else that's guaranteed to make you mad as hell.
We love everyone. We hope
true.
this podcast finds you safe and secure in this wild, crazy world of ours. And
well, I was all those things before the email found me, but yes. Now I'm angry. No, I'm just kidding.
And if you want to get more extra content, obviously, you can go to patreon.com/Mountain Murders Podcast. All kinds of extra content. You can become part of our little Discord fam. I love you guys.
We have ad-free episodes.
Ad-free episodes on all.
Bonus content.
And we have started the movie club, which is a lot of fun. We watch and review true crime docs. And we're working our way through some of those. Got some great docs on there I have not seen. So I cannot wait for that. And yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're curious about our May Movie Club watch list, 2 of the series we will be checking out this month of May. If you're interested in signing up, you want to watch with us, you want to hear an episode, we are covering the Serial Killer Capital, Baton Rouge, which is a great series on Peacock. And we'll also be watching that HBO series Love and Death.
Okay.
Which is I guess a reimagination of the Candy Montgomery story. Hulu had their own version, Candy, with Jessica Biel. This one actually stars Ashley Olsen.
Nice.
So it'll be kind of cool. Maybe we can do a comparison of the 2 shows. But we're going to be watching Love and Death, which is the HBO series, and also the Serial Killer Capital, which is the Peacock series on Baton Rouge.
I got to say, that Baton Rouge situation, I was not aware. And it just it'll blow you away.
I can't wait to talk about it. I cannot wait for us to discuss in depth this docuseries.
It'll give the killing fields in Texas a run for their money, like for real. So yeah, we love all that, and you can do that for as low as $3, $3 a month.
It's true. If you have time, follow us on Instagram at Appalachian True Crime. You can also follow us on Twitter at Mountain Murders Podcast. And find us on YouTube, Mountain Murders Podcast, and give us a follow. Subscribe to the show on YouTube. That helps us out. Dylan, I hope you have a great rest of your week.
I'm having a great rest of my week right now.
I've enjoyed sitting down with you today.
I've enjoyed sitting right here with you too. I hadn't even pooted or nothing.
You're so cute.
I love you so much.
And then Rufus is over here on the couch in the podcast room. He's asleep in our studio, snoring.
And one last thing.
I don't know how such a tiny dog can make such big snores. Dylan, real quick, we're talking about Rufus. We have a guy, one of our listeners, Chris, and he really loves Rufus videos and pictures.
Okay.
He follows me on my personal Instagram, which if you want to follow me there, you can find me at Gothalachin. Anywho, Rufus inspired him to go get a tiny dog. And he got the cutest puppy. It's a dachshund.
A dachshund.
Is that how I say it?
That's
Dachshund, dachshund?
Well, nobody says
it's
dachshund.
a wiener dog
It's a dachshund.
named Chewy.
Country folks say dachshund.
Because it's got the little... It's one of those, furry wiener dogs.
Oh,
What
my
are they
God.
called?
It's a long-haired wiener dog.
A long-haired wiener dog.
Yeah.
It's a furry wiener dog.
They're
He
so
named
cute.
it Chewy because it looks like Chewbacca.
Oh, my gosh.
He's a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And this is the cutest damn dog. He sent me a couple pictures and was like, I had to show you my puppy. Cutest dog. We love your
Aw.
dog pics. If you have a cute dog, send us a picture. We have our folks in Discord that will post their little cat and dog photos.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like one of the best parts of being in Discord is seeing everybody's adorable pets.
Hey, you can be having a bad day and everybody drops some pics of their kitties and their puppies and their little dogs, and it just brighten your day. And they're big dogs. Just get all your dogs out there. And one last thing, if you don't want to do any of that other stuff, we have been receiving just some incredible 5-star reviews and just giving us a comment of what you get from the podcast. If you can drop us a 5-star review anywhere you listen, we would love you forever for that. Thank you. I really want to start. I've been thinking about reading those on some of the maybe laid back episodes because we just love them. Just the kind words are incredible.
It's true.
Thank you and
Bye.
have a great day.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your week.